Shalom to you. In this video, we're going to graph this cosine function, which is similar to graphing sine function. So the first thing I would do is label all the characters. If you notice, the vertical translation, which is D, is written in front. So we know because it's been added. So it's the one that is always added or subtracted outside the parentheses. Usually we have it at the back. So if it is written like this, do not let it confuse you that this is still, this 2 is still D. This is still D. This is A. And B here is 1. And this is C. So again, if you want, you can rewrite it like that. If that confuses you. So 1x plus pi over 4. Again, when it's 1, we don't usually write it, but it's again, so you don't ignore it or think it's 0. It's 1, then plus 2. So that way you see clearly. But anyway, so we have to write the amplitude. So the amplitude right away we know is the number that is multiplying cosine or sine. So again, do not think the amplitude is 2. The amplitude would be 4. So the amplitude is the absolute value of A, which is 4. And then the period for cosine is 2 pi over B. Well, since B is 1, so it's going to be just 2 pi. And then phase shift. Phase shift is the horizontal shift. Then we take everything inside parentheses, set it equal to 0, and solve. So we have x plus pi over 4 equals 0. So what we do, we subtract pi over 4 from both sides. So x is going to equal negative pi over 4. So this, the graph, original graph has shifted pi over 4 degree to the left. Okay. So those are, so we have more space for so we can talk about the minimum and maximum. Okay, so the mean minimum, let's talk about maybe midline to start with. Hold on. So the midline is D. So it's going to be y equals 2. So which is the line. So if this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, we can have 5, 6, and 2. So the line that will pass through 2 like that. So that will become our new 0. And then the maximum is going to be the amplitude, whatever the amplitude is from midline. So from midline we count 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be at 6. So, and then the minimum is below that. This is 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So from midline, we count 4 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be negative 2. So the minimum is negative 2, and the max is 6. Okay, so that will be our lowest part of our graph. We go like that. And then, so we have the minimum, maximum. The vertical translation is going to be the same thing as the midline. So the vertical translation. Oh, this is translation. vertical translation is going to be 2 units up. So vertical translation is midline also. So 2 units up. It's just the way you describe it that matters. Midline you write as an equation. The translation you describe with what? Say the direction. And then you have to explain the transformation, the shift, the vertical stretch and shrink. This vertical stretch is A. It's a stretch or shrink. It's going to be stretched because it's positive. It's big number. It's positive. It's greater than 1. So stretch is going to be 4. Vertical stretch by 4. We'll just by factor of 4. And then horizontal stretch or shrink. So B is the horizontal stretch or shrink. Shrink or stretch is always the multiplying part. So it is 1. So it's just natural. So there's no shrink. So horizontal stretch or shrink. None. We just write none. Okay. All right. And then transformation. It's almost there. All these describe the transformation. How about the horizontal shift is the phase shift, so which we already found here. And you just describe it. Shifted to the left. Okay. So these are the transformations. Now to do the graphing, then we're going to find the ordered pair. So we're going to use our phase shift, which is the first graph, the first number, theta value, and then we find its equivalent, so which is negative pi over 4. So if we take that, do some work. So if we have so when pi, this is 2 plus 4 cosine x is negative pi over 4. So we keep pi over 4. So which will be negative pi over 4 plus pi over 4 is 0. So y equals 2 plus 4. Now cosine 0 is 1. 2 plus 4 times 1 is 4. Y equals 6. So when theta is pi over 4, y is 6. So this is one point we have on our graph. We are going to find whether this point is the maximum or minimum. Then from there, we locate the rest. So pi over 4, let's say pi over 4 is here, 6 is up. So it's maximum. exactly at the maximum. So we can just use it now to create all our. So we have, if this is x, this is y, or rather x is theta. Okay. So if we have negative pi over 4, comma 6, and this is maximum, we want to identify its maximum, and then so we know the next is going to be the midline, so we can create some point here. So this is going to be the midline, and this is going to be the minimum. What's going on? Okay, the minimum. And then midline again, and maximum. It's always midline, minimum, midline, maximum, midline, and so forth. Midline, and then minimum. Okay, so we're going to find our scale, our x scale. So x scale, don't have time here. X scale is period divided by 4. So since the period here is 2 pi, so if we divide it by 4, our x scale is going to be 2 divide itself, 1 and 2. X scale is pi over 2. Okay, but since our angle goes by fourth, see, it goes by fourth, and we're going to be adding on the x scale, and so their fraction, we're going to have a common denominator. So I would keep it as 2 pi over 4. So to be able to easily add it together. So okay, so that's the scale, x scale. All right, so now we're going to be adding this x scale to so if we have negative pi over 4 plus the x scale, which is 2 pi over 4. And by the way, we can go ahead and fill in the midline. We already know the midline is 2 and the minimum is negative 2. So we can fill those in. Midline is 2, minimum is negative 2, midline is 2, maximum is 6, midline is 2, minimum is negative 2, and so forth. We just find the data by adding the x scale. So this one's that the same denominator, negative 1 plus 2 is positive pi over 4. So this is going to be positive pi over 4. And so we take that again, positive pi over 4, we add another 2 pi over 4, we get 3 pi over 4. So that would be 3 pi over 4. Then we take that 3 pi over 4, we add on 2 pi over 4, we get 5 pi over 4. So this will be 5 pi over 4. Oops, oh, make it tidy. Okay, so if we take 5 pi over 4, we add on 2 pi over 4, that will be 7 pi over 4. So that's 7 pi over 4. And then, so we can, get more. So how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 would make 1 period. So let's plot that in, and then we'll go from there. Go to our graph. Pi over 4, 6. Okay. So let's do okay. So, well, we don't need to write those. We already have those here. So we have, if I label this as 1, I don't really have enough number. So I can, it doesn't have to be. So I can do it by 2's also. I can do 2, 4, 6, 8. So then I use the one in between. So that's -2, -4, -6, -8. And then since I have to go 2 periods, I will have to see how I can divide this. Then my period is 2 pi. So if I make this to be 1 pi and 2 pi here, so if I make this to be pi and this to be 2 pi, and then that means this will be 1/2 pi, and this will be 3/2 pi. And I can do the left side that way to make it 2 periods. So this is going to be -pi over 2, and this is -3 pi over 2, and this is -2 pi. So this gives me 2 periods. And then we're going to, so we can find the numbers in between, even though what we have, like the pi over 4, you go by fourths, so but we can find the fourths in between. So sometimes you get one like that, you just have to do the arithmetic. So when x is -pi over 4, so -pi over 4 will be in between 0 and -pi over 2. So somewhere here, the x is 6, the y is 6. So it's going to be somewhere here. And then when the next one, and by the way, the midline is here. I have to draw that. And then that's the maximum line. And the minimum is at -2. So just there. Going to be adding some there. Okay. So the next is pi over 4. Pi over 4, which will be in between 0 and pi over 2 here. It will come to midline. And then the next is going to be 3 pi over 4, which will be at the minimum. 3 pi over 4, and it's going to be between 0, that, 0, that. So here, between those two. And then the next will be 5 pi over 2, which will be between pi and 3 pi over 2 here, and we come back to midline. And then the next is 7 pi over 4, which will be between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi, and it's going to go to that's one period now. So if we graph that carefully, and then to make the other period, since we have that mark here, we can use the pattern, go backward. So this 6, the next one is going to come down to midline, and it's going to be a pi over negative. This has the pi over 4 here. So we already have the negative pi over 4. So it's going to be in between these two down here. Because it has this the shift, the pi over 4 shift. So the next one is going to be in between these two down here, and the next one goes back to here. Okay, so I don't have enough space to go back by 2 pi. Alright, so that's gonna be okay, something like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be a sharp bend. Okay, that's kind of two periods there. Alright, so I hope you get this.